Welcome back, mathematicians. In this video, we are going to do more examples with polar coordinates. So let's consider the point P with polar coordinates 3, pi over 6. Now let's go ahead and plot this on the polar coordinate system. So I have a pole and I have a polar axis. I'm going to go 3 units out from the pole along the polar axis, and then I'm going to rotate to pi over 6, which would be right here. Now I'm going to draw my terminal side of the angle pi over 6. And so that's my point plotted, 3, pi over 6, plotted on the polar coordinate plane. I would now like to plot 2 more additional points, the first one being 3, 13 pi over 6. And I'm choosing these 2 more additional points because of the fact that they will share the same terminal side for my angle because they are coterminal angles. So I start with my pole and my polar axis. I'm going to go 3 units out, which would be right here. And then I'm going to rotate 13 pi over 6. Now remember, 13 pi over 6 is larger than 2 pi, so this is a full revolution around the coordinate plane plus an additional pi over 6. That means that my point will still be located right here, and my terminal side will be along the pi over 6 angle. This is the exact same point in the polar coordinate system as the first point, which was represented by the ordered pair 3, pi over 6. I'm now going to repeat the same process for 3, negative 11 pi over 6. And again, I'm choosing negative 11 pi over 6 because it actually has the same terminal side as pi over 6. So I'm going to graph my pole and my polar axis. I'm going to go 3 units out along the pole, but this time I'm going to rotate negative 11 pi over 6. This means the rotation is clockwise instead of counterclockwise all the way around the coordinate plane until I get to the coterminal angle, which is pi over 6. I'm going to go 3 units out along that terminal side, and so there's my point. And so one more time, this is the same exact point as I had for the other 2 ordered pairs. So the whole moral of the story, I guess you might say, is that for this same point, I can represent it using 3 different sets of ordered pairs. I'd now like to repeat the same process, but now with an additional point, which is negative 3, 7 pi over 6. Now 7 pi over 6 is not a coterminal angle to pi over 6, but because of the negative r value, I believe we're going to get the same exact point in the polar coordinate system. So I'm going to plot my pole and my polar axis. I'm going to go 3 units out along the pole, and then I'm going to rotate to 7 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6 would be in quadrant number 3, so 3 units out would be that point right here. I'm going to draw my terminal side to my angle. Now because r is a negative value, that means I'm going to reflect my terminal side and my point across the pole. That means my point will be located right here, and my terminal side will actually be this ray right here. So what we see is this point is the same location as the previous 3 ordered pairs, which means that negative 3, 7 pi over 6 is also an ordered pair that results in the same point. Now we have an example where we are being asked to plot the point P with polar coordinates 2, pi over 3. So let's go ahead and plot the pole and the polar axis, and let's plot the point 2, pi over 3 by going 2 units out from the pole and rotating to pi over 3. So that would be this point right here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw my terminal side to the angle pi over 3. So there's the point for 2, pi over 3. What we are now being asked to do is find other ordered pairs that when graphed will result in the same point. And what we're given are different criteria for the value of r and also the value of theta. So we're first going to look at when r is greater than 0 and theta is greater than or equal to 2 pi but less than 4 pi. Let's start with r. Since r is greater than 0, we automatically know it must be positive 2. R can really only be 2 values. It's either going to be positive 2 or negative 2. Those are your only 2 options. So now let's look at theta. Because theta is greater than or equal to 2 pi, which by the way represents 1 full revolution around the coordinate plane, but less than 4 pi, which is 2 full revolutions around the coordinate plane, we know that we're dealing with a coterminal angle. To draw a picture to represent this, I would be rotating around the coordinate plane 1 full revolution and then an additional pi over 3, which means I have pi over 3 plus 2 pi, and that gives me a sum of 7 pi over 3, which is a coterminal angle to pi over 3. This means my ordered pair that represents that same point, but with the criteria that r is greater than 0 and theta is between 2 pi and 4 pi, that would be 2, 7 pi over 3. Before I move on to the next one, I'm going to erase the revolution from the previous example. We are now being asked to find an ordered pair where r is less than 0. Well, we automatically know that that means that r would have to be a negative 2. Theta, on the other hand, is going to be from 0 to 2 pi, including 0. This means it's going to be counterclockwise rotation and less than 1 full revolution. Now, the negative r value makes it a little more challenging because you got to think in terms of reflections now. So the final answer is going to be the same point that we have on the coordinate plane, but we need to find the point that we would have prior to the reflection. And to do that, we're going to look at the angle that is directly across the pole from pi over 3, which is 4 pi over 3. Meaning we're going to plot this point, which is 2 units away from the pole at an angle of 4 pi over 3. We need to look at that point first, and then that point would be reflected across the pole. Since that point is at an angle of 4 pi over 3, we know the ordered pair would be negative 2, 4 pi over 3. Quickly erasing my work from the previous example. Let's now look at r is greater than 0 and theta is from negative 2 pi to 0, meaning that theta will have clockwise rotation because it will be negative. One more time, since r is either positive 2 or negative 2, we know it's going to be positive 2 in this case. And also, because we were dealing with negative theta, that means the rotation is clockwise and we're dealing with a coterminal angle. So what we have is pi over 3 minus 2 pi, which gives us a difference of negative 5 pi over 3, which is the coterminal angle 4 pi over 3 with clockwise rotation. So my final answer here would be 2, negative 5 pi over 3. All right, so these are 3 ordered pairs that result in the exact same point as 2, pi over 3. All right, guys, good luck.